From the Oklahoman newsroom, this is an OU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Ryan Aber. Ryan, big question heading into this season, running backs. You don't lose Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon and not have a question mark there. After a couple games, what do we know about the situation? We've seen all four of the guys on the depth chart, but where does this position really stand?
Well, I think two guys have really taken control of this spot right now. Abdul Adams was really good against UTEP, was pretty good early in the Ohio State game, and then he fumbled. They pulled him out, went with some other guys, and then Trey Sermon late in that game was just fantastic. Had some really good runs, caught a touchdown pass from Baker Mayfield. Rodney Anderson had some flashes, but still hasn't been a big part of either of these games. And Marcellus Sutton, who we saw in the UTEP game, we didn't even see at all against Ohio State. They planned to use all four of those guys, but the game plan, the way that game evolved, really led to only three running backs being used.
We have not seen a depth chart since Ohio State. The one that was out on Monday was not updated, so to speak. Do we think that Abdul Adams is still the starter, or did Trey Sermon do enough? I mean, he went to Ohio State and had a huge impact on that game. Did he do enough to catapult himself into that spot?
I think right now there's a good chance that Trey Sermon starts against Tulane. Lincoln Riley talked about riding a hot hand. Right now, Trey Sermon is the hot hand. Now, I think we're still going to see Abdul Adams play against Tulane. I think we're probably going to see all four of those guys play, if I had to guess. But I think Trey Sermon's the number one guy right now.
Lastly, Rodney Anderson, largely, as camp went on during August, largely believed to be the guy that was most likely to emerge. He had played he'd played some before being hurt the last couple years. We really haven't seen much of him. What is he just not at? He must not be at the level of those two guys that are getting the bulk of the carries right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's clearly behind Adams and Sutton, even though the depth chart initially, Adams and Trey Sermon, although the depth chart didn't even have Trey Sermon on it, but the job that those two have done have sort of elevated them. And then Rodney Anderson, he didn't take contact during the spring. They said he took contact during preseason camp, but clearly has the physical body to be a number one running back, but the production just hasn't been there yet.
All right, we'll see on Saturday against Tulane just how those running backs are used and who emerges after game number 3. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.